Returning to Miller's Crossing felt like stepping back into a nightmare. The old Victorian house loomed ominously at the end of the street, its windows dark and lifeless. I parked my car and stared at it for a long moment, summoning the courage to go inside. The protective symbols and rituals Evelyn had taught me were my only defense against the Watcher, and I clung to them like a lifeline. The house smelled of dust and decay, as if it had been abandoned for years rather than months. I made my way to the basement, the air growing colder with each step. The door creaked as I opened it, and I felt a chill run down my spine. The basement was just as I had left it, filled with old furniture and boxes of my grandmother's belongings. I set up candles around the room, placing the protective symbols in a circle. I began the ritual, chanting the words Evelyn had taught me. The air grew heavy, and I felt a presence watching me from the shadows. The knocking started again, but this time it was different, more insistent, more demanding. As I finished the ritual, the candles flickered and went out. The room plunged into darkness, and I heard the growling closer than ever before. My flashlight flickered to life, and I saw it. The Watcher, standing at the edge of the circle, its eyes glowed with a malevolent light, and its form seemed to shift and waver. "You cannot banish me," it hissed, its voice echoing in my mind. "I am bound to your blood. I will always find you." Summoning all my courage, I stepped forward, holding out the symbols. "What do you want?" I demanded. The Watcher paused, as if considering my question. "You carry a curse, passed down through your family. Your grandmother tried to hide it, but she failed. The curse is tied to this house, to the land it stands on. To break it, you must understand its origin." With that, the figure vanished, leaving me alone in the dark. I knew what I had to do. I spent the next few days combing through my grandmother's journals and old town records, piecing together the history of the house and my family. I discovered that the land had once belonged to a man named Jonathan Miller, one of the town's founders. He had been accused of witchcraft and executed in the late 1600s, cursing the land and all who lived on it with his dying breath. My ancestors had unknowingly built their home on the cursed ground, and the Watcher was the manifestation of the curse. Armed with this knowledge, I sought out Evelyn once more. Together, we devised a plan to lift the curse. It required a powerful ritual, one that would break the bond between the Watcher and my bloodline. It was risky, but it was my only hope. We prepared everything in the basement of the old house, setting up an intricate array of symbols and candles. As night fell, we began the ritual. The air grew heavy, and the temperature dropped. The knocking started again, echoing through the house. The Watcher appeared, its form more solid than ever before. It howled in rage as we chanted the words of the ritual, trying to break through the circle. The candles flickered wildly, and I felt a surge of energy building around us. With a final desperate chant, the circle of symbols glowed brightly, and a shockwave of energy burst from the center. The Watcher shrieked and dissolved into a cloud of darkness, which was sucked into the earth beneath the house. The air cleared, and the knocking stopped. For the first time, the house felt peaceful. The curse had been lifted. Evelyn and I stood in silence for a moment, taking in what we had accomplished. "It's over," she said, her voice filled with relief. I nodded, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. "Thank you," I said, grateful beyond words. As I left Miller's Crossing for the last time, I knew that the Watcher was truly gone. The nightmare was over, and I could finally move on with my life. but I would never forget the terror I had faced, or the strength it took to overcome it. The past would always be a part of me, but now, at least, it wouldn't control my future. It's that time of year again, where the darkness feels that much darker, and every creak and groan of your house feels that slight bit more unsettling. It's that time of year where your sense of fear and dread creeps more deeply upon you, and your fears are suddenly heightened. But there's no need to fear. We have the perfect solution for you. Spooktober 2024 is once again sponsored by VENATOS. As you all know by now, VENATOS offers the topmost quality in gaming equipment, and with their top-rated customer service, you won't have any buyer's remorse nightmares, even if you live on Elm Street. You can avoid the terror of added fees because VENATOS ships free to the United States, Canada, and hell. Well, Hell, Michigan, that is. What are you waiting for? Go to venatos.com today. Still scared? How about you use code PRESSSTARTMOM at checkout and save an additional 10% off your order? That should keep the monsters at bay. For now.